killing the interviews lately.
Yeah, after what's been going on the last few weeks has just been like, you know what? I'm not gonna let that happen again.
Yeah. All right, got that tweeted
Let's see.
out. Man, why am I so loud right now? Jeez. Good lord. Do I sound better to you now? God, all of a sudden, I was like, I must have hit the
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah. No, you sound good.
Check 1, 2, 3. Okay,
I'm
I was like,
trying to pull up the. It's twitch.tv/jfunktastic. Yeah, it says it's not going to your channel for some reason.
what? Let me.
Twitch.tv/JYFUNK
Yeah,
TASTIC.
it's going to my page when I click the link.
Okay, now it's working.
All right.
That was really. It said your page didn't exist.
Okay. That's news to me.
I'm like I know it does.
Yes, yes, it does. We had a really good interview a little while ago with the Fantastic People Pod guys, Regan
Yeah,
and
I saw.
Christian.
Yeah, I saw your. I saw the promo graphic earlier.
Yeah, that was a really fun episode.
Yeah, I'll give them this. They've been doing really good with their social media. Like they started their
Yeah,
own page and everything. Like have discussions about like just stuff that people are fans of. So
yeah.
I know I feel bad because like both of them have asked to collaborate with me, and like I've been kind of kicking that can down the road just because of how crazy my schedule's been.
But
I flat
once
out just told Regan, I said, after baseball, we'll talk.
yeah, you definitely should whenever baseball's over because I really like their show. It's very pleasant. Like I
Yeah.
told them, it's very pleasant to listen to because it's very like produced and just kind of I don't know. It's got a very pleasant quality to it.
Yeah. It's, I want to listen to their episode they did with Steve.
Yeah, I listened to that. Was it today or yet? Yesterday. I listened to it. It was really, really good. Like one of the best interviews I've ever heard with Steve.
Yeah. I need to listen to that.
I love listening to Steve talk. I wish Steve would do a podcast.
I've told him he should.
He needs to. He's got the voice for it, and he's like his personality and the way he can just like tell stories.
Yeah. I told him, I told him that he should at least attempt it. You
Yeah,
know, like if he does it and he just doesn't like it, then he doesn't have to do it. But
he should.
I think he'd be good at
I
it.
think if he did like 6 episodes, like put them in a can and then release them one at a time over like a 6 week period and see how it goes. Because I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't really cost anything. I mean, he could put them on Anchor and see how they do.
Yeah.
I think he would be really good at it.
Yeah, I think so too. Crazy thing is he hasn't done an episode of my show since um January.
Yeah, and I like listening to when he's on with your podcast. Like I just love listening to Steve talk.
Yeah, he was on because that was when I did the Empire Strikes Back show with you and
Hmm.
Wally, and then I did the Mandalorian show with him.
Yeah, that was a
And
great episode.
it sucks because like he and I like so he works for Channel 3, a local news station we have here,
Mhm.
and they broadcast high school football games, which I work as like a freelance employee. And he was at Friday's game, and that was the first time that he and I have probably had like an extended conversation, and like since probably that Mandalorian
Yeah,
episode.
I haven't really talked to him like in person, like and conversationally, and probably over a year. I mean, we talk on Messenger and stuff, but yeah, it's
You know,
like everything's.
we haven't even really talked on Messenger all that much.
Yeah, he's just been super busy and
Yeah, it was good to catch up with him though.
yeah. I got everything pulled up and ready to go.
Yep, I
Oh, I
got
wanted to
all
show you
the.
this too. Check out my new coffee mug I bought the other day.
Oh, that's cool.
It's got the Universal
Some
monsters on it.
some classic movie monsters. I love it.
Says the original horror show.
Where'd you find that?
It was at the Spirit store. Just opened up literally like right around the corner from my house. So this is very dangerous territory for me because it's literally like right around the corner.
Yeah, that's
I'm,
awesome though.
I'm gonna have a lot of Halloween stuff this year. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm good to go if you are.
Yep.
There you
I'm
go.
all set.
3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we're back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is not Wally Phelps, Jacob Craig, or a fill-in guest. It's Derek Diamond.
2 weeks in a row. What did we do to deserve the gracings of Derek Diamond 2 weeks in a row during baseball season?
Some type of really bad karma. I don't know. Yeah, it's good to be back once again. As we mentioned last week, I will be out next week due to the final homestand of the season.
Mhm.
But once that's over, I should be back on full on, until next baseball season. But which we'll worry about that
Yeah.
down the road. But
Let's talk
Other
about
than
this
that-
weekend. You had your birthday party, surprise birthday party this weekend.
yeah, so I had a coup against me, and by that I mean with my fiance, my mom, and a lot of my closest friends. So I had been under the impression that we were going over to a friend's house for a 90s themed party.
Mm.
I didn't really ask questions. I was like, okay, 90s party, sure, I'll go. And I was summoned by my mother to meet her at the mall down the road from our house. And I thought that was a little strange, but I was like, okay. So did that and then came back, and all these people were at my house and they jumped out and yelled surprise. And they threw me a belated surprise birthday party. So it was really cool. It was that was the first time that anyone had ever thrown a surprise party for me. So it was really special.
And if you want to see the most awesome cake ever, go check out Derek's Facebook page. That cake is epic, or was epic.
So it's basically, it was a 2-layer cake, but around the cake itself were little imprints of movies and shows, basically of my interest. There was like a giant Rocco's Modern Life logo, a Nintendo controller, a Cheers logo, a Nickelodeon logo, and pretty much anything that I liked was on that cake.
I know, as soon as I saw that cake, I was like, how much did she spend on that cake? Holy cow.
I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. I know those cakes are not cheap, but given the fact that there's so much detail that goes into it, and the cake itself was delicious. I was telling you the other day, it's like the cake that, it melts in your mouth a little bit whenever you just like stick it in your mouth. It just like dissolves a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
I
Totally
had
worth it.
100% planned to be there for the party. Your fiance had sent me the invite like a month ago, and totally was going to go. We were going to go over there for the day on Saturday, go to McGuire's during the day, then go to your house for the party, stay the night, and then come back on Sunday. And of course, like 3 days before the party, Hurricane Ida formed in the Gulf and was heading straight for us. So the day of the party, we didn't know exactly like how bad it was going to be. And that morning, I was kind of flip-flopping. I was like, should we leave town? Should we stay? Like, what are we going to do? And I decided, that morning we had to go over to the next town over, which is east of us, like towards Pensacola. And the traffic was ridiculous. Like, it was so backed up from the people from New Orleans trying to get to Florida, evacuating. And I was like, "There's no way. It'll take us 12 hours to get there because I had put your address into the GPS, and it was just like if you look at Google Maps and it shows you where like the traffic backed up is, and it was just like one long red line like all the way through Alabama into Florida. I was just like, yeah, we're not gonna make it. There's no way. Even if we left at like 7:30 in the morning, there's no way we would have even made it there for your party.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I will say this, my heart goes out to everyone in New Orleans who,
Yeah,
because there's some people that, they lost their home, lost everything.
yeah.
And there's
Not
no
only,
telling when the town will get power back either.
yeah, I know, because the whole grid like fell into the water. And not only that, but Homa got wiped off the map. Which, if you're listening to this, you don't know where Homa is. Homa is another city that's about 30 minutes south of New Orleans. One of the other bigger cities down there, and it's gone. Like my band Falls from Grace, we used to play there all the time. They had a couple of big clubs there in Homa we used to play at all the time, and that whole town is just gone. Like I've
Wow.
seen so many pictures. Like my girlfriend's family's from there, and the pictures are. It looked like it looked like after Katrina. Like it's just leveled. So heart
That's
goes
awful.
out to all those people. Like I feel awful.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day too. It's insane how last year Hurricane Sally hit here
Mhm.
16 years to the day of Hurricane Ivan hitting. And then Ida hits the New Orleans area 16 years to the day after Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm. It was almost the
It,
same path too, because what happened with Katrina is she went up and hit New Orleans, like that southern tip of Louisiana, but then bounced up and hit the Mississippi coast dead on. And what people don't understand, they think New Orleans got hit. Like New Orleans, they think the damage in New Orleans was from Katrina. The damage in New Orleans was from the levees breaking. The Mississippi Gulf Coast is what took the brunt of Katrina. And what happened is when she hit land, she just sat there for like
Mhm.
12 hours just pushing water up. That's why there was like a 25-foot storm surge. And that's kind of what Ida did when it hit the southern tip of Louisiana. It's just sat there and spun for like 12 hours. It's like, just dissipate already. Like, go away. I hate living down here sometimes.
Yeah, it was insane watching it on the radar. Just the fact that, because I was keeping track of it, especially on Sunday, and then just seeing where it was Sunday night compared to Monday, and it hadn't really moved all that
Mhm.
much. Because we got a lot of rain from it too. It rained really hard Sunday morning, then stopped for a bit, then rained pretty hard again Sunday evening. Then Monday it rained practically all day. And I should send you the video that I took from work. Like the rain was so hard you could barely see past the outfield.
Yeah.
And we have 3 flags that are hanging up, and I swear all 3 of them looked like they were just going to fly off the pole.
It's those outer bands, man. Those outer bands are just as bad as the inside of the storm. It's crazy. The Mother
And
Nature hates the Gulf Coast at the end of August. She hates us.
and the thing is, like, the hurricane season had already been pretty active leading up to this. But this is usually the worst time of year when it comes to
Yeah.
hurricanes, is late August into September.
Only 2 more months of hurricane season to go. Yeesh.
Yeah, watch us get one in December.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mother Nature will hear this and be like, okay,
That would suck.
yeah, that would be awful.
But you ready to go into the news for this evening?
Let's do it. We got some good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do. From GameSpot.com, the Metroid Dread trailer features the return of a classic villain. New trailer for Metroid Dread has gone live, which features Samus apparently at odds with the Chozo. The race of warrior-like alien bird people has long been referenced in the Metroid series, although the actual details on the disappearance of the entire race have only been vaguely hinted at over the years. New trailer shows Samus under attack from a mysterious Chozo warrior, with Nintendo describing the species as a highly intelligent and technologically advanced race that once sought to bring peace throughout the galaxy. So what'd you think when you saw the Metroid trailer the other day? As soon as it dropped, I watched it and I tagged you. I was like, oh, you got to watch this right now.
It looked amazing. I think a Metroid, it's been overdue for a new Metroid game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think watching the gameplay and seeing what they're going to do story wise, because correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the Chozo also build Samus's suit?
I'm not sure. Did they?
I want to say they did, but
because isn't that the reason the suit came to life? And which one was that? Where Samus actually had to fight her suit? Which Metroid was that? Do you remember?
That was Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
There's also the Metroid Prime series. She also fought a dark version of herself.
Okay.
But no, Metroid Fusion, she fought a virus that took her form.
Oh, that's right.
Which is cool because this takes place after Fusion, which is why she has the partial blue armor, because it's the same one from Fusion, but it's just slowly starting to transform into her old power suit form, which I think is a cool little Easter egg. But I thought the trailer looked fantastic.
Oh, man.
This is going to be a day one purchase for me.
Oh, me too. Just the gameplay alone, they didn't even need to show me the cinematics. They just needed to show me the gameplay, because the gameplay itself is insane looking, especially if you're a fan of that side-scrolling Metroid type of game, because it's got new kind of like 3D, almost realistic graphics, but very stylized. It's a side scroller. Man, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. I have total faith that Nintendo is gonna drop what's gonna be probably one of the best Metroid games ever.
I think so too. Yeah, October 8th can't get here soon enough.
Too far away. It's a whole month from now.
It'll be here before you know it. I mean, we're already in September.
Yeah, but still, it's a whole month.
Which is insane.
I want it now.
I want it all, and I want it now. Our next story was sent to us from Mr. Armez Jackson and comes to us from NintendoLife.com. The Game Boy Advance is getting its first commercial release in 13 years.
Damn.
Richard Nickel is bringing Good Boy Galaxy to the console, as well as other platforms such as Steam and Switch. This platform adventure game stars Maxwell, a space-age pup who explores unfamiliar worlds, makes strange new friends, and contends with mysterious forces. Good Boy Galaxy will feature jam-packed levels with multiple routes, 50 different characters to befriend, secret areas and hideaways to be discovered, as well as a wide array of beasties to blast. There's a demo available now if you want to give it a spin. Nickel has already gotten the game in front of some pretty influential developers, including Supercell creative director Paul Chambers, who has this to say: "Super crazy what you have done. Seriously, well done. It's a proper love note to classics, and I feel it." There was the Kickstarter funding target is £18,000, I assume is what that is, of which over 3,000 has been pledged at the time of writing. Funding options include a digital version for the GBA, which you can play via emulation or on a flash card, or on a downloadable version for Switch/Steam, which is also £18. There's also a boxed GBA cart, which comes complete with manual and stickers, all supplied by First Press Games, and will cost you £44.
I love that this is a thing now where people are still making games for older systems.
I kind of want to get it. It looks like it would be fun.
Yeah,
like this would be fun. Like I would probably get it for the Switch, even though getting like the physical, or getting the GBA cart would be pretty cool. But it looks fun. Like it looks like a game that I would have played for the Game Boy Advance. So it'd be fun to play it and give it a nice review.
Yeah, this is really cool. I hope they keep doing stuff like this. All these indie developers making actual physical games for older systems. Get
Yeah.
back to the NES and the SNES. I'd love to play a brand new Super Nintendo game.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be great?
Now you're talking my language.
Let's see. I want to keep blocking ads, Eurogamer. This one comes from I Am the Rampage from Eurogamer.net. Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One get cloud gaming this Christmas. Microsoft has announced during its Gamescom 2021 Xbox stream, Microsoft said Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members will get access to over 100 games from the cloud on the consoles. This has the added benefit of letting you play games before you install them. Microsoft uses the example of Sea of Thieves and the ability to jump into a multiplayer game with friends as soon as you get an invite and without having to wait for an install. Cloud gaming also means Gen 9 only Xbox games, what Microsoft calls current gen games, such as Microsoft Flight Simulator and The Medium, are playable on the last gen Xbox One via the cloud. It supports up to 1080p and 60 frames a second. That's the same performance Xbox Cloud Gaming currently offers across PCs, phones, and tablets. I like this new world we're moving into of cloud gaming. I think Microsoft is really the one kind of leading to the way to where we could do cloud gaming like this and not have the lag that has been experienced in the past with cloud gaming.
Yeah, I think if anyone's going to lead that charge, it should be Microsoft. I feel like they would be best equipped to handle it.
Because I don't know if you've played anything on PS Now, but you can stream a lot of games on there, and it's kind of bad. Like the lag and the if your connection is not good enough, you will just straight up get dropped out of the game, and it's not great. I have good internet, so it's not the internet. I think it's just the PlayStation Now network just really isn't up to snuff.
Well, hopefully Microsoft will be able to perfect it, and then Sony and maybe eventually Nintendo will want to do that.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, because Microsoft and Nintendo are buddy these days, come on, man. Just give me the entire NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy library, everything. Just put it all in an online library, accessible through the Switch or whatever Nintendo, like whatever, even the Microsoft, even the Xbox, whatever you want to do to access that library of Nintendo games, just give it to me. I need it.
I mean, it would be the simple thing to do, so they probably won't.
Yeah, they won't do that.
Yeah. But that's actually a good segue to our next story, which is also comes to us from Armez Jackson from NintendoEverything.com. Rumor Nintendo Switch Online to add Game Boy and Game Boy Color games soon. Rumor has it that Nintendo Switch Online will be adding Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles, but Game Boy Advance will be left out. The speculation ties in with a 2019 data mine in which 4 emulators were uncovered within the official NES Switch app. One of these, which goes by the name Hyoko, is thought to be for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Today, YouTuber Nate Drake, who seems to have a bit of a track record with Nintendo rumors, published a new Nate the Hate podcast in which he, along with host MVG, discussed the possibility of Nintendo Switch Online expanding. Separately, Nintendo Life claims to have heard from its own sources this will be happening really soon. At the moment, there is no reason to believe that Game Boy Advance will be included in Nintendo Switch Online. Why not? Is kind of my thing.
The Nintendo is one of those companies where I feel like, they're gonna let's be honest, the past probably year of Super Nintendo and Nintendo Online releases have been tepid at best. And I think all of a sudden Nintendo's going to be like, here's 50 Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. Have fun. And we'll be like, oh, Nintendo, we love you for another 5 years because we'll probably get nothing after that.
I just don't. I feel like a broken record when I say this, but I don't understand why they continue to hold all of these games back, and they release things like Jelly Boy and Prehistoric Man.
Yeah, I tried to play
I
some
don't
of those not too long ago, and not my thing.
I had thought about for last week whenever, I was making my return to the show, I thought about reviewing Jelly Boy because I had been playing it and I was just going to go off on it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play something good for
Yeah.
my comeback, so I did not.
Which we got something good we're gonna review when you come back after next week. We've been
Oh,
both
yes. Yes.
playing. We think you people are gonna enjoy it too. So I can't wait. We're gonna do a dual review when Derek comes back in 2 weeks.
And we don't have too many dual reviews, but they're always a lot of fun when we do it. So
Yeah. Well,
this will be one that's worth it.
yeah, this is something I told Derek about after I purchased it last week. I was like, dude, you've got to play this game, and I think you people are gonna enjoy it too when we do our review of it.
How close are you to finishing it?
Well, the other day I was actually streaming, and the second temple, the water temple, which is humongous. Uh, I did something stupid where I was trying to get through that damn temple, and it was taking me forever. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna come back to it later. And I quit the game without thinking about saving it. I didn't go back to a save point, so I lost all that progress. So I have to go back through that whole water temple again.
Oof.
Yeah,
That's rough.
it hurts. It hurt my heart.
Yeah,
It hurt me.
I'm
Right
at
here.
the fire temple right now, and it is kicking the crap out of me.
Yeah, I imagine.
I've died 6 times in that temple.
So you better make sure you have lots of potions and the little
Yeah.
sprig, the little life sprig that
The herb.
bring you back. Yeah, the herb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like I'm like it's a far walk, so I d-
it's a fun game, but it's definitely not forgiving on some things.
no. No, it is not.
For our last story, this also comes from RMS Jackson. From NintendoEverything.com, Atari is putting Centipede Recharged on the Switch. Publisher Atari, along with the developers Atom Vision Studios and Sneaky Box Studios, have announced that they'll be releasing the neon-fueled reimagining of the arcade classic on Switch, due out digitally on September 29th. Let's see. The overview of the game is initiate insect extermination in this widescreen glow up of one of the greatest arcade games of all time, which I will say is. I've got the little mini arcade here of Centipede that I keep right next to me all the time. The rules are the same as the 1981 game. Shoot the centipedes as they descend the playing field and contend around the shot blocking and path altering mushrooms they leave behind. New to Centipede Recharged are power-ups dropped by the spider, such as explosive bullets, spread shots, and a devastating railgun. You can do high scores in arcade mode, either solo or with new simultaneous couch co-op feature. Tackle more than 24 challenges that test bug shooting prowess and introduce clever uses for the new power-ups with additional challenges exclusive to the Atari VCS, which we haven't heard much about that too much lately.
Mm-mm.
Let's see, there's global leaderboards and earn more than 15 achievements. I might have to give this a whirl when it comes out. It's going to be $9.99 on the Switch eShop. And does it say when it's going to drop? Does not say. Oh, yeah, September 29th. So that's like 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks or 4 weeks from now. I think this is going to be pretty cool because I love Centipede. Centipede was always one of my favorite Atari games when I was a kid. One of the 5 best games you can get for the Atari 2600.
It can tie you over until Metroid Dread comes out.
Yeah, yeah. I play it for a week or two, and then Metroid comes out, which is going to be chef's kiss. I'm preemptively saying it now. Metroid is going to be epic.
I think it will be too. And this Centipede Recharged is pretty cool. It always piques my interest whenever I see like the classic Atari and arcade games get like a little makeover, like
Yeah.
add little features to it, and it's re-released. So
Surprised
it's
they've
cool.
never done a Cubert re-release like with new stuff.
He's too foul mouthed for today's generation.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I've got another little machine over here that Mario is on right now. My little glowy Mario. He's on top of a little Cubert arcade cabinet back there.
Nice. Yeah, that is surprising though.
But coming up next, we have this month in video game history. On September 26th of 1986, Konami releases Akumajo Dracula for the Famicom Disk System, the first game in the Castlevania series. One of my favorite series of all time.
On September 26th, this game will turn 35 years old.
Ugh, don't remind me.
So I there's a reoccurring theme for this week's gaming history is that I tried to stick strictly to like anniversary years. Like on September 26th, this will turn 35, and there'll be other ones that we'll talk about here in a bit. But yeah, I mean, Castlevania, when you think of its legacy, I think it's one of the more crucial franchises to Nintendo's early success. Because when you think of especially the NES, you think of Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda. I think Mega Man is up there too, and then I think in that same level of Mega Man is Castlevania.
Oh yeah, Castlevania and Contra, like those
Yep.
are like the when you think of Nintendo, those are the first games that pop in my head.
I still need to watch the new season of the anime.
Oh, it's so good, so good. I love that show so much. I can't even wait for the new seasons. Like the jump forward in time. Like
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah, no, Castlevania's good. Yeah, and doing this show introduced me to playing Castlevania. So had this podcast not happened, I don't know that I would have ever really been like formally introduced to it. Like I had heard of Castlevania, but I never played it.
The other day, my brother sent me a picture. My sister-in-law ended up picking up a Nintendo Mini on Facebook Marketplace and gave it to my nephew, and my brother sent me a shot of him playing Castlevania, and I was like, "Oh, nice! Castlevania is one of my favorite games." I was in a tournament last year. I didn't beat Dracula, but I got to Dracula, and he's a tough boss to beat, man. It's one of those games that it's a very specific pattern to beat him. But yeah, I was telling my brother, I was like, yeah, you can. All the cheat codes still worked on all those old games, and he immediately texted back. He was like, yeah, Michael wants the cheat codes for Castlevania. I was like, you can Google them, but unfortunately, Castlevania doesn't have too many cheat codes. That's a very punishing game that is 100% skill based.
Yeah, for sure.
Konami code does not work on Castlevania.
In September of 1991, 30 years ago, Electronic Arts releases motorcycle racing combat game Road Rash for Sega Genesis, starting the Road Rash series. I never played Road Rash. I have a vague memory of it. I remember the fact that it was motorcycle based really stood out to me because, eventually you had like Mario Kart and other like kart and car racing games, but nothing really with motorcycles.
Yeah, I remember playing Road Rash with one of my childhood friends. I went to stay at his house, I think, in like for a weekend sleepover. We were like fifth grade or sixth grade, something like that. And he was the only kid I knew that didn't have a Nintendo. He had a Sega Genesis, which was awesome. And the only two games he had were Road Rash and Sonic the Hedgehog. So that's what we played over that weekend, and we played a lot of Road Rash. But I think that's probably the only time I've ever played that game.
Yeah, I've never played it, but like I said, I just have very vague memories of knowing of it.
Yeah. Let's see. September 9th of 1996, Naughty Dog releases Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation. Man, that was 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's nuts
Whew.
that that franchise is that old, and it's had a fairly successful comeback with the new game. So I talked about it last week, but I remember being introduced to the Crash Bandicoot series through staying at my uncle's house due to a hurricane, and I like the Crash Bandicoot games. I won't say that like I'm a diehard fan and that I love them, but they're fun platforming type games. Like it's just different enough from Mario where it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a carbon copy. But it's crazy to see where Naughty Dog started and where they are now. It's pretty
I
remarkable.
still remember those commercials with the guy in the Crash Bandicoot
Yep.
suit in front of the Nintendo headquarters, yelling at him through a bullhorn.
Yep.
And like it seems like yesterday, but that was 25 years ago.
That that'd actually be a good like top 5 list is like top 5 video game commercials.
I think so. Dude, did you know that Paul Rudd was in the Super Nintendo launch commercial?
Hmm. Yeah, I remember reading about that. Obviously I didn't know it at the time because I didn't know who Paul Rudd
Yeah.
was, but yeah, I forgot how I randomly found that out. But yeah, it's wild.
And he doesn't look
And
any different.
I was about
He
to
was
say he looks exactly the same.
has not aged. I think drinking the blood of the innocent.
He made some kind of underhanded deal, but he seems like such a nice guy though.
Could it be Satan?
And to close us out for this month in video game history, on September 14th, 2001, almost 20 years ago to the day, Nintendo releases the GameCube and its launch title Luigi's Mansion in Japan. I can't believe that the GameCube, Halo are about to turn 20 years old.
I know. It doesn't even feel like those came out at the same time, does it?
No, the Xbox and the GameCube were pretty close in launch.
It's so weird to me because I feel like those were separated by like 3 or 4 years, but no, they
You
were
would
like
think.
right there, like right with one another.
It's been a while since I've said this, but I think once we hit to November, we gotta have a Halo roundtable
I think so too. I want to
because
do
like
that.
just from the stories of playing Halo would be worth its own podcast alone.
Absolutely. We got to have Wally on for that one because me and him have so many
Yeah,
stories.
if you want, I could ask Robbie if he
Yeah.
wants to come on too, because like we're not that far apart in age, and he was part of that same group that would get together on Friday and Saturday nights and play Halo. So I'm sure he'd have some great stories too.
And me and Wally still have little like sayings and quips that we say to one another, like little inside joke things that began because of Halo. Like things we
Yep.
would say to each other in the game, we still say to each other now 20 years later. Like that's how important that game is.
Let me put you on the spot real quick.
Mhm.
What Halo do you think has the best multiplayer, and which Halo do you think has the best campaign mode?
Uh, I honestly felt like Reach was the best campaign. I know that sounds weird, but
I
I
don't think
felt
so.
more emotionally connected to Reach for some reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Halo 1, 2, 3. I played ODST. I even played the Halo what was the RTS that they put out?
Halo Wars.
Halo Wars. I had that too. Um, but there was something about Reach that was that story of just like nobody survives. Like it's the Rogue One of the Halo series.
I was about to say when I watched Rogue One, and when the ending happened, it reminded me of Reach.
But we had a lot of fun playing. LAN parties with Halo 3, Halo 2, but there's just something about that original Halo multiplayer. It was so new for consoles, but it was perfection. The way they did it, the way we could link all of our Xboxes together. We would just get pizza and barbecue and, like Mountain Dew, and we would just, talk smack to one another. Like, just something about that original Halo multiplayer is just a special place in my heart for till the day I die.
Friendships were tested
Yeah.
during Halo multiplayer.
Yeah, I would
Because
say
I'll say this, and I can go into more detail when we do the roundtable, but there were some times that it went a little too far.
That's when you have to pause. Everybody pauses, and you all go outside and take a moment.
Pause. Go outside, get some air, take 5, then come back in, and we'll start again.
I did really like the creator mode. Was it Halo 3 that had the creator mode, or was it Reach for the multiplayer that had creative mode where you can go in and like design your own maps?
I want to say it may have been Reach.
UNOC, welcome to the chat room, said Halo 3.
Okay.
It must have been Halo 3, I think, because I had a lot of fun just designing my own maps in that game.
Yeah, like for me, when it comes to campaign, I enjoy Halo 2 the most. When it comes to multiplayer, I have more memories of Halo 3 than any other. Like I have a lot with LAN parties and playing that original Halo multiplayer for the original Xbox. But my friends forced me to get Xbox Live for Halo 3 because that's all they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was tired of getting my ass beat all the time. So I said, okay, I'm going to get Xbox Live and I'm going to get better. And that's like what I would do most evenings was just play Halo 3 on Xbox Live for like 2 hours a night.
Yeah,
fun times.
Those were heady times back in the early 2000s.
Yep.
But now, before we go into the review for tonight, Derek has shout outs.
Yep. As always, we'd like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We have Axblade07, Daniel Salmon, John Jekyll, a.k.a. Mixmaster, Hand Solo, Carlos Longoria, Staff Sergeant Sketch, Tyler Watson, Brandon Rutledge, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Randy Bailey, Joey Image, and Ron Johnson. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions to the Patreon. And because you've kept us at the $50 level, we continue to do fun commentary tracks, just like our newest one, Big Trouble in Little China, which we recorded yesterday.
So fun.
Yes, it was. And you can check that out now on our Patreon. If you want to vote on other commentary tracks, I believe we're doing another poll for this month. Vote on some of our reviews. I know you and I both post polls every now and then asking for the subscribers to pick what games we review and other fun things as well. So if you want to be a part of our awesome community, just head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new Patreons, just be sure to send us your social media, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so we can give you a proper shout out.
And tonight, going to be talking about
Kick it.
music sounds like something straight. I mean, it is straight out of the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a game that won a Patreon poll like 2 months ago, and I've been meaning to review it, but just the way everything that's happened over the last month and a half, like as soon as this won the poll, like 3 days later, the whole Blizzard Activision stuff went down, so it kind of got pushed back and pushed back. But what I'm talking about is the Lost Vikings. It is a puzzle platform game developed by Silicon and Synapse, which is now Blizzard Entertainment. Published by Interplay. It was originally released for the Super Nintendo in 1993, then subsequently released for the Amiga, Amiga CD32, MS-DOS, and the Mega Drive Genesis systems. The Genesis version contains 5 stages not present in any other version of the game and can also be played by 3 players simultaneously. Blizzard re-released the game for the Game Boy Advance in 2003, and in 2014 the game was added to Battle.net as a free download emulated through DOSBox. And I don't know if anybody knows this that plays things like Heroes of the Storm, which is Blizzard's MOBA that they give for free. You can play for free. They actually added the Lost Vikings as playable characters in Heroes of the Storm. So, because this was the very first game that the Blizzard ever made back in 1993. But yeah, this is a weird game that it's kind of hard to describe. It's a platforming puzzle game, and you're playing 3 different Vikings that have 3 different powers. You have Eric the Swift, Balog the Fierce, and Olaf the Stout. They get kidnapped by Tomator, Emperor of the alien Croutonian Empire, for an intergalactic zoo. And you have to go through the ship with these 3 characters in order to escape. They each have their own set of skills. I think Eric the Swift is the one that can run and jump very far. Balog the Fierce is the one who has, I think, an axe and a sword. He can attack. And then Olaf the Stout has a shield. And the way you, it's sort of a rock, paper, scissors sort of a basis, I guess you'd say. Like, you go through the levels and you have to use the strengths of all 3 in order to get through the levels. Like, you have, you use Olaf the Stout with his shield to sort of block enemies and things like that. You use Eric the Swift to get to certain places where he's got to hit switches and things like that, because he's the only one that can jump. The other ones have to use, elevators and things like that to get to where they're going. But Olaf the Stout, he can use his shield not only as a shield, but he can use it as sort of like a glider through the level. Like, you can glide to certain places. I've never actually played anything like this before. It was very interesting because the only way to get through each level is you have to use all 3, and you switch between them by using the shoulder buttons on the Super Nintendo controller. And you have to, it takes a while to get through each stage. I mean, I'm sure there are people that speed run this game, which that's something like I'm gonna have to look for that, see if people actually speed run this game, because that would be amazing to watch. But it's a lot of trial and error with this game. I put quite a few hours into this game, and I finally got like probably 6 or 7 levels in before I got to the point where it was just like I just couldn't go any further. Like, it just, like, each level, cranks up the difficulty as you go. And not that it was frustrating, it's just sort of like it tends to get kind of old after a while. Like, it's not something that I want to keep doing. And that's my only complaint with the game is it's very daunting sometimes, like trying to switch between the characters. I mean, it's very smooth. Don't get me wrong. It's smooth to move between characters, but it tends to get kind of tiring after a while.
Funny enough, I was about to ask, did you control, like, were all 3 on the map at the same time and you have to switch between the 3?
Yeah.
So I remember, because when you mentioned the name of the game you were going to review, I didn't sound familiar, but as soon as I saw the box art, I knew exactly what game you were talking about. And I get some Secret of Mana vibes in the sense that you have to do the same thing. You have these 3 characters that have different abilities that you have to use to get you through certain points of the
Yeah.
game. So it's interesting because I didn't know that there was another game out there like this,
Mhm.
much less for the same console. So that's actually a pretty cool little factoid.
Yeah, it's a good game. Like the music's great, the graphics are great. It plays really well. Plays better than I thought it would. Like I thought it was going to be kind of daunting trying to control, three characters at the same time. It's not as bad as you think it would be. But for being a 30 almost 30-year-old Super Nintendo at this game, it's really well made. Like it I could see them putting this on the Super Nintendo online on the Switch. I don't understand why it's not there. Like this was a pretty big game back in the day. But this definitely would have been something I would have probably finished as a kid and put the hours into it. But as an adult, like it just not really my flavor of game. Like I would much rather have played like just a straight platformer because it's just like I enjoy the puzzle aspect of it of trying to figure out how to use each person in each level. Like you use Baylog, like he's the only one that has a weapon, like so he's the only one that can kill enemies. But and you have arrows too. You have a bow and arrow which you can use to like hit switches and things like that because you have to use Eric who can actually jump to like you use him to like get to certain parts and you hit a switch which turns on the elevator, which then you can get the other two guys where Eric is, and then you use Olaf to block like shots from other enemies while Balog comes in and kills with the sword. So you gotta really be kind of quick on the draw with switching between the characters. And another cool thing about it is you pick up items along the way too, like you pick up like apples and things like that for health, and you can switch between them. Like if, like say Eric has an apple for health and Balog's about to die, you can actually give that apple to Balog to keep him alive because you can't lose anybody. Like if one of them dies, you might as well just restart the level because you can't finish the level without all three of them. Like you can't just let one die and then expect to finish the level. It won't let you finish the level. So you have to have all three of them survive each level to make it to the next part.
So the Lost Vikings was re-released as part of the Blizzard Arcade Collection in February of this year to celebrate the company's 30th anniversary. It is available for Windows, the Switch, PS4, and
Oh,
Xbox One. If you want to get your hands on that,
oh,
I'm
it
with you
is.
though. I feel like this should be a game that's on the SNES
Yeah,
online store.
that's probably why it wasn't on there because it's on, like you said, it's part of that package, which I can
Yeah,
understand that. That Blizzard wants to make money off of it. I mean, hell, I'm sure any video game company would want to still make money off a 30-year-old game. I mean, who wouldn't?
yeah, yeah. It also says here that computer gaming world called the Lost Vikings a clever blend of comedy and role playing, and
Yeah,
that it's a unique puzzle solving adventure great for people who enjoy using their cerebral cortex along with their hand to eye coordination. And just like the name alone, and then from what little I watched a little bit of gameplay and I've seen some screenshots of it. It does look like it has a certain blend of comedy to it, which
yeah.
I think is good.
Yeah, I mean, from the character animations and like the little cutscenes that they have, it's really cool and it's a really pleasant game to look at and listen to. Like you listen, the music is great. Just go check out the soundtrack on YouTube, and the music's it. You can definitely tell that from the beginning, Blizzard had a knack for making good games, even though they've kind of taken a quite a tumble from the top of the mountain. Like they've really fallen from grace and fallen out of favor. I personally am not going to play any more Blizzard games until they get their act together, which is probably going to be never, but that's, that's my choice. I choose not to support those companies. Like I really wanted to get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remake, but it's an Activision game, so guess what? Not going to buy it, not going to play it until you get your behavior under control, Activision. But yeah, we're not going to. We did a whole episode about that, so if you want to go back and listen to that, you can go listen to it. But that's the reason why this game kind of got pushed back, because I felt like it would have been in bad taste to review this game during the middle of all that controversy. Even though technically they weren't Blizzard at the time, they were Silicon and Synapse, but it's the same company, the same people that made this game. So it's I like this game. I think it's fun to play. It's not going to be something I'm going to play all the time, but as far as execution for something that like, it's a very unique playing experience, especially for the Super Nintendo. I mean, I got to give it a solid 8 just for effort alone, because like you said, it's got really good humor. I love the character interactions in the game. I love the little cut scenes and the individuality of each character, and how they have different little personalities, and you have to use their strengths and weaknesses to get through the levels. If you're really into like puzzle type games, and you're into good platforms, I mean, this is a perfect blend of the two.
I dig that. I think 8 sounds about right.
Yeah, I still can't believe how good this game looks. Like, the Super Nintendo is, I think, going to be known as the console that's still going to hold up, 100 years from now, just because that pixel art is just so timeless and beautiful. And when you had companies like Nintendo and the Silicon and Synapse, who and Konami, who could really push that system to its limit and make those gorgeous games, man, that thing is just, it's amazing to go back and look at some of these games and be like, it still looks just as good today as it did back then.
No, I completely agree. There's just something about, because you look at a lot of the indie games you see on the Switch, they look like Super Nintendo games, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, that was the pinnacle of side-scrolling, pixel type games. Like, it doesn't get much better than the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some ugly games on there. I mean, go look at like Rocketeer and things like that. Those games don't look great. They don't hold up. But you get games like this, and especially like Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Super Mario World, man, those, and Donkey
Super
Kong
Metroid.
Country. Oh man, Super Metroid, Donkey Kong Country. Those games are just timeless.
Yep. Agreed.
But that's all I've got to say about Lost Vikings. Like I said, I should have done it like a month and a half ago, but it just didn't seem right to do it then, so I pushed it back.
No, it was the right decision.
But I enjoyed it, and if you want to spend money on it, and I can't tell you what to do. I mean, if you want to support Blizzard and Activision, go play it. On the Switch, but I mean, if you have a Super Nintendo or a Retron or something, I'm pretty sure this game is not that expensive to go to a retro store and pick one up.
Yeah.
But that's gonna bring us to the end. It's so nice to have you back. I wish you were here next week too, so we could talk about the game we're playing.
Yeah, same here. The good thing is one homestand to go. just one.
Then we'll be back to normal.
Yep, we'll be back to normal. So it's been a long road, but glad to be coming up to the end of it.
And thank you all for hanging with us, through the craziness. I know some of the long-time listeners, they know what to expect when summertime rolls around, but this year seemed to be a little more crazier than usual. So thank you for sticking with us through this whole summer. Of
The newer listeners are probably like, who's the guy that Jason keeps talking about that's never here?
who is this Derek Diamond character?
Yeah, I don't like him.
But what's going on with the Derek Diamond experience?
So I'm really excited for this week's episode because, well, I start off by giving a recap of CinemaCon, which also dropped, the description of the new Matrix movie that's coming out at the end of the year, which I'm really excited for. Showed new footage from the upcoming Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. All kinds of cool news broke from CinemaCon, so I talk about that, and I also interview a cinematographer named Seamus Tierney who worked on the Mighty Ducks Game Changer series, which was released earlier this year on Disney Plus. So, really, really cool conversation about kind of the visual aspects of filmmaking. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, you can go check it out. That episode will, if you're listening to this on the download, will already be out. If you're watching live, it'll be out tomorrow. If you want to follow the show on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at D Diamond Podcast.
And go check out my other podcast, the Open Micers Podcast, at Open Micers on Twitter and Instagram, and Open Micers Podcast on Facebook. Last week we talked with comedian Sean Finnerty, who you might know from, he was on The Tonight Show. And he's a up-and-coming comedian, very funny Irish guy. So if you like Irish accents and funny dudes, go check out that episode. And coming up this week, we just got done talking earlier tonight with the guys over at the Fantastic People Podcast, Regan and Christian of the Fantastic People Podcast, which is based out of your stomping grounds there, Derek, out of Pensacola, Florida. I did an episode with them back at Pensacon May this year. They just put out an episode with our mutual friend Steve Wise, who talked about Star Trek, and he just got done directing a TV pilot starring Jason London and Corin Nemec. So he talked about all that on the Fantastic People podcast. But go listen to them. They're gonna be on the Open Micers this week, which drops Friday, and go check that out. But I think that's gonna do it for this week. Is there anything else before we walk out the door?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, if you'd like to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. We are at nerdcaveretro.com, and we're on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdcaveretro, Instagram and Twitter at nerdcaveretro, and individually at jfunktastic and at Derek_Diamond. Go get some shirts. We've actually got a sale going on right now, 35% off everything in the store at ncrmerch.com. And you can support us at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, where if you keep us above that $50 level, we do the commentary tracks every month, which last night we just did Big Trouble in Little China, which you don't want to miss that. If you can't do that, can't support us, I understand. Times are tough. Leave us a review wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. So, Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
Checker, eh?
Yeah, I need to go capture some audio from Big Trouble in Little China for use.
There's some good
here.
stuff on there.
Oh man, that was a fun show. I'm glad I finally got that one out of the way. I've been holding on to that for like 2 months now.
No, it's good stuff.
But thank you guys for watching on Twitch and YouTube's, and we'll see you guys next week.